This is Stars and Scopes with your friend Uma, updated every new and full moon with guidance based on planetary transits in the current sky and extra support from tarot. For accuracy, take a look at your rising sign first if you know it, and do feel free to listen to your sun, moon and rising if you'd like the full picture. If you're interested in your birth chart, check out the readings page at umaruby.com. And if you'd like to support the work, head over to buymeacoffee.com/umaruby and you can buy me a coffee. Finally, if you're a visual learner, look up Uma Ruby Tarot on YouTube and you can watch and learn. Okay, let's take a look. Hello Scorpio and Scorpio rising, welcome to your horoscope for the full moon in Aquarius, happening on August the 12th at 11:36 a.m. if you're in the southern hemisphere with me. So to ritualize, to call it in, to let it go, all of that stuff, all of your magic making, you can do it on the 11th or you can do it on the night of the 12th. Either way, we're going to be just before or just after the full moon. If you're looking for exactitude, then you can absolutely make some time and space at lunchtime on the 12th to do what you need to. I always like to physicalize the experience. I think that the physical feeling of being under moonlight at that capacity can really help us shift whatever water it is that we need to. Remember that the moon activates the tides. Remember that our body is mostly water. Remember that in the tarot and symbolically, water is our emotions. So this full moon, I can feel it's going to be quite a productive one for you, Scorpio. You're the fixed sign energy. And what I mean by that is that Taurus, Scorpio, Leo and Aquarius are fixed signs. So there is maybe like an immovability sometimes in your energy. There's definitely something as far as your conviction is concerned, and you'll find that in common with your Leo, Aquarius, Taurus family, is that there is conviction there, and there is a kind of reluctance to move from a position that has been established. Maybe, yeah, I'll describe it in that way. The Aquarius rules your fourth house, which is your home, your access to privacy, your roots, and sometimes your ancestry as well. It can be to do with that also. The energy that I'm picking up on here, first of all, let's talk about that triple conjunction. I think it might be really constructive to do so. How'd it go? How and in which ways? And what did you experience in terms of either revolution or in terms of passionate directness, in terms of combustion in your seventh house of your romantic partners, your soulmates, it could be your intimate collaborators too. How and in what ways did you experience that conjunction, and how did it play out for you? How did it ripple through your intimate relationships? In a beautiful aspect and a way to kind of zoom out and to sort of look at how these sorts of aspects can play out collectively. And if you're in Australia with me, you would maybe cast your mind back to our new government's commitment to the Indigenous voice to Parliament, and that commitment to revolutionise the current structures of this land. Taurus is about the land and earth and grounding and the physical material part of life. So the way that can be looked at is the passion of Mars, the forward movement, with the revolution and rebellion of Uranus, and the North Node being the point of focus. In that way, this change can be looked upon as something really progressive and really much needed. So I say this because the aspects, it's not, we must never be frightened of the astrology. We can witness it, and we can also, if things are cropping up in our lives that are difficult, we can zoom out, as above, so below is a great thing to remember. It's it's a magic trick sometimes, but it's also vital, sort of a vital tip for emotional regulation. So if any of that can be translated into your romantic partnerships, your soul contracts, your soulmates, has there been revolution in that space? Has there been passionate revolution? Have you experienced coming together with someone in a way that maybe you had not before? The moon in Aquarius is forming a square with that point in Taurus. So Mars is sort of petering off and moving on, still in Taurus, but elsewhere. We're still feeling the effect of that. The moon's in conjunction with Saturn, which is boundaries and sort of rules and restrictions. Saturn, remember, is very happy in Aquarius. Saturn teaches Aquarius a lot about proper boundaries. So relate that to the fourth house, relate that to home, and your home, your roots, your privacy, perhaps your ancestry too. There could be a square, a push and pull, a pressure between your ancestry and your soulmates, your romantic couplings. There could be something there that's needing to be worked through or needing to be worked with. The tarot card for where the moon is at this lunation, at this full moon, is 19 degrees of Aquarius, and it's the Six of Swords. So let's have a look at this. There is three figures that have made an active decision to move away from turbulent waters into something much calmer and clearer. The swords here represent our thoughts or our intellect, our truth. And I think in this way, these swords are forming a protection. So there's something to do with your intellect here that is keeping you safe, keeping you moving. And you'll notice their backs are to us as well. So you're almost in some ways turning away from the turbulence of the seventh. That could be something that you're experiencing in order to reestablish some firmer, safer boundaries at home. That could be a really interesting way that this is playing out for you, Scorpio. I would definitely be a champion of that if there has been some fire activation or some real flammable energy in the seventh, and you've actively decided to turn your back on that and use your boundaries, your great sense of boundaries, to protect yourself and to re-establish the confines and safety of your home, then I support that very much. It can appear in any manner of different ways. So I'm just throwing out some examples of how this might be playing out for you. I think the ultimate goal at this Aquarius full moon is to really, as we do, give back to the moon what you no longer need. So if there's been sort of anxiety at home, then this would be a perfect opportunity to protect ourselves, keep our boundaries in place, and let go some of that anxiety to sort of re-establish a sense of safety and re-establish a sense of privacy. Might be really beneficial for you at this time, Scorpio. Yeah. If you read tarot, I would suggest that you pop this one under your pillow the night of the full moon, because there'll be some great understandings and messages, and further to what I've just explained, you can write a book on every single card, and people have, there's so much information. And one thing to remember is that in conversation and in working with this imagery, it almost pays to separate ourselves from our intellect or our brain just a minute. If you think about, in some ways, people that give sort of public speaking or speeches and stuff, and they've not prepared anything because they feel more comfortable to just let it happen. That's a great example of high vibration, positive intuition, where it just appears and it just sort of comes from somewhere deeper than your predisposition to sort it out here. So by saying that, I mean that whatever you see in this card is probably for you right now pertinent and really important. So I'm not the authority on any of this stuff. In fact, we all are, it's a group exercise. This language has survived for so long because it has been shared and given through storytelling and through language. And there's always room, as we know, for language to evolve. It has to. I was watching an interview with Nigella Lawson, and she was talking about recipes and food and the evolution of that. And she said the same thing. She's like, the way that we feed ourselves and the way that we communicate with one another is all based on evolution. So we move with the evolution of language, and we move with the evolution of the tarot. The tarot moves with us. The planets move with us. Just a little hot suggestion there, Scorpio, in case you were needing some encouragement to dive into this form of study. If that was something that you wanted to do, you don't have to, obviously. It's not, it's not for everyone, but if you're absorbing and really enjoying this, then I would encourage you to get a tarot deck, and you don't have to learn it off by heart. You don't have to be, you don't have to ace the test, but it's a lifelong journey to self-discovery and to self-acceptance, I think, in a lot of ways. So, Spirit, please, I'd like 3 cards for Scorpio to help them on their journey with this Aquarius full moon, please. 3 cards, and we can send them off with some. Aha, the moon. Lovely. Lovely. Right on time. Right on time. You can trust yourself with the moon, Scorpio. You really can. Allow yourself to feel. I think sometimes a good way to think about fixed water might be ice. I think I've maybe said that before. There can be a sort of immobility sometimes with Scorpio in a protective vibration or a sort of shadow side. The moon encourages movement of water. And I got the Emperor, which is another major arcana, another major secret. You can see this figure. I love this version of the cards, the Modern Witch Tarot, because the imagery is so modern. It's probably a good way to say it. There's no, the Emperor can sometimes be read as a sort of patriarchal sort of figure, and if you've been oppressed by that system, then it's repellent. But a major secret, a major arcana, remember, resides within us. So we all have the Emperor energy in us somewhere. And this depiction is a beautiful androgynous figure in a red suit who is cool and calm and collected and stabilized. So there's great opportunity for you at this moon to restabilize, I think, is what we're going to begin to discover here. Okay, and another major arcana, I got the Hermit. That's Virgo energy. I read these for you, Dylan. If you need to take a break, if you need to step away, put the moon there. If you need to step away for a moment from a scenario, it doesn't have to be forever, but if you need to extract yourself from the milieu, from the turbulence, from the fire, from the passion, for the time being, to clear your head and to restabilize, to find the Emperor again within your own energy, and to work with some of your intuition, to work with the messages that are coming from Spirit. The Hermit is a great teacher. The Hermit, actually, you can see in this image, they're wearing the star around their neck. The star comes later in the major arcana, but the star is that clearing after the tower, that moment of nothing to hide, of nakedness and of truth and of clarity. So the Hermit has retreated and taken a step away in order to start discovering, start learning about that, and to encourage it to come out from within. I think that this moon might be a really nice one for you, Scorpio. Fixed energy signs are having a bit of a hard time because of the hard angles. But I think that, if we can read it this way, we can work with it. Look at the moon card. There's fire, there's a wolf, and there's a dog. I love this card because there's it's the naked figures with the masks. You know, it's sort of the wild side, the tame side, and then there's something emerging from the water here too. The moon's coaxing on. That's something else. So this could be something to do. And maybe if we look at it this way, I'll move them around. You know, we've got the Emperor and fire. We have the Hermit and staidness. So even if nothing else at this full moon, it might be a great time for you to reconcile your difficulty with duality, maybe. There's the sand. That's the reading, Scorpio. I love you loads. As always, you can tip me at buymeacoffee.com/Uma Ruby. And if you want your birth chart read, you can choose an option over at umaruby.com. I've had a beautiful week, many great discoveries with a lot of beautiful new people that I know now. And I'm so thrilled to be able to help them through using the tarot and using the planets to a greater understanding of themselves. So all the best with this Aquarius full moon. I'll speak to you in 2 weeks for the new moon in Virgo. Until then, Scorpio, I love you. Take care.